What was the
And I may have to stop to change batteries on this because I'm not hard.
Okay.
on this.
My camera on?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so go whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Ray Comfort. Welcome to a discussion between myself and the well-known internet entity Thunderf00t. This isn't a normal discussion. We don't have a live audience. We don't have a moderator. I think it'll be a rational discussion between two opposing worldviews. So I'd like to start the ball rolling by asking why the name Thunderf00t? I mean, is it African American ancestors?
Well, I mean, there were elements. I used to play a network game where I used to play and capture the flag, and Thunderf00t's a good name for a guy who runs the flag.
That's reassuring. I thought it was because you like stomping on Christians.
No. I'm a very live and let live type guy. I don't. What you do in the privacy of your own mind and in the privacy of your own home is your own business.
Right. So you're an atheist, although you don't like the word atheist. Why are you godless? Why don't you believe in the existence?
Well, I would normally go by the tag, if at all, of Pearlist, which is physical evidence and reasoned logic. And this is, if you like, the wellspring from which everything that we actually know, everything to build what you see in front of you, the metallurgy, the lights, all of this actually comes from physical evidence and reasoned logic. It is the foundation of our civilization, and it is what has brought us from the Stone Age to where we are now.
So, what was in the beginning? How did all this happen?
Well, there is the assumption that there was a beginning. I mean, this is what we would call in scientific terms an unknown.
You don't know what was in the beginning?
It's unknown. I mean, there are things that we know and the things that we don't know, and there are, as Rumsfeld would say, there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns.
But I could have stopped you there because I know what was in the beginning. You don't know. I know what was in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You don't know. I do.
Well, that's a statement of opinion. It is not a statement of fact, in that you cannot actually sustain it with physical evidence and reasoned logic.
Well, do you believe nothing created everything?
There is, again, the assumption that there was a creation. This is, like I say, an unknown.
So you can't use the word creation or created because it denotes a creator. So what do you call it?
It's an unknown.
What do you call this thing that we live in? How did it get here?
Well, we live in a universe. I mean, ultimately you need some assumption to get going. And the assumptions that I make are the universe exists, and that you can learn something about it.
Do you think it's eternal?
I don't know.
So you don't know how it began, and you don't know if it's eternal?
It's unknown.
To you?
It's unknown to me.
Yeah.
And further, I would say that it's unknown to mankind.
Well, you can't say that, because you'd have to have omniscience to know it's unknown to mankind. You don't know what mankind knows.
Yes, I have a... Okay, this is getting into, can you ever disprove something? Well, yes and no. There is a practical growth of knowledge, of how we actually discern what is real from what is not real. And this is essentially the scientific method. And this is what has taken us from the Stone Age to landing on the moon in about 300 years. And this is the growth of knowledge. I mean, you would agree that you and I are a little different from those who lived a few thousand years ago. Yeah?
Right, we've just got more knowledge.
We've got more knowledge.
There's nothing to boast of. We're built on the knowledge of the past.
Yeah. And once you have decided that knowledge is a good thing, then really you want to set up civilization such that you expand the knowledge of mankind. And there are two ways you can do this. There are two factors. There's the extra knowledge that you acquire, and there's the knowledge that you can lose. You can lose knowledge. You can have hard disk crash, you can burn down buildings, and all this sort of thing. You can forget it. But you can also have those who are essentially intellectual vandals, those who deliberately sow disinformation. I mean, you see this throughout history, particularly in dictatorial regimes. They put out propaganda, disinformation, right? Now, usually with dictators, they're worried about the maintenance of their civilization. However, in the scientific realm, the growth of knowledge is a more permanent thing.
Right.
So Newton's ideas, they may have been refined and such like, but essentially there is a degree of permanence to
Degree of permanence, but it's going to be laughed at in 100 years' time, what we believe now. It's going to change.
No, no. I mean, Newton is correct on certain length scales.
I'm speaking
time
generally.
scales.
Generally.
Yeah.
The knowledge that we have now in 100 years will be laughed at.
And
Because
just
they'll
out
build
of interest, I mean, a philosophical question,
Yeah.
completely random philosophical question. Do you believe that the universe is simply as we perceive it? In other words, do you think that you see in a relatively narrow wavelength, you have a perception over a very small range of timescales, right? And it may well be that the universe is, I mean, like you say, you scroll the clock back a few hundred years when they thought the Earth was flat. This is a perfectly reasonable assumption. You actually go out and you look, the Earth is flat. Yeah, right. Okay, so so on certain length scales, this is a good approximation. It's only when you actually get a bigger perspective of the universe that you actually, or in this particular case, the Earth, that you realise that it's round.
Every generation thinks it's right.
Well, I wouldn't claim that, and so.
Well, which scientist says we believe this, but we're wrong? When they thought the Earth was flat, they thought they were right. But we now know they were wrong.
They were right on a certain length scale. It is a very good approximation to flat. I mean, we are in a studio that makes a fairly good approximation to flat. It's only when you start to look at it on a length scale of thousands of, or even just hundreds of kilometers, that you start to realize this is not a good approximation.
Right.
The same thing goes with Newton and relativity. Newtonian mechanics makes very good approximations over certain mass ranges and such like, but it fails when you get down to the very fast, when you get up to relativity, the very fast, or to quantum mechanics, the very small. Right? So the question, this is what you would normally call a paradigm shift. Do you actually think that the universe is as we perceive it?
No. Nothing's as we perceive it.
So
You can't even tell me which direction up is.
Well, I can tell you with respect to gravitational field of the Earth.
That's right, because in New Zealand, where I come from,
Yeah.
up is down.
Yeah.
We're all run upside down, so...
Yeah, so no, just bringing it up. So when there's a bit in where the devil tempts Jesus, I think he takes him up above the world, but of course that would be down. I mean, this is just a you would see this as just a
figures of speech.
Figures of speech.
Now
okay.
listen, why don't you believe in God's existence?
There is what is there that would sustain such a point of view?
Creation. You cannot have a creation.
Again, I said from the beginning that is an unknown. You don't actually know there was creation. You know there was a universe, and you said that it may not be as you perceive it. Right? When you get up to the very fast, intuitive reasoning fails you. The whole thing essentially dissolves into mathematics. Right? There is no intuitive interpretation.
So you're saying there's no evidence that God exists?
If you have some, I would be more than happy to.
You don't know how creation got here. You don't know how the universe got here. You say it's an unknown.
It's an unknown.
But you can't make our most intelligent scientists can't make a grain of sand or a blade of grass from nothing. We haven't got a clue how to create a piece of sand. We can't make cows, we can't make milk, cheese, butter, all these things that surround us. With our intelligence, we can't create.
So, I mean, in some senses, yes, we can create. We can manipulate matter.
That's recreate. That's with using God's materials to recreate. We can't create a piece of sand. So,
But again, you've made the assumption that the universe is as you perceive it.
okay, we can't make a frog, a fly, a bird, a tree. We can't create. So,
no, I mean,
let me finish my
sorry,
sentence so
please.
you can see. So how intellectually dishonest is it to say, if we can't create all these things, they happened by sheer accident, that they were just formed by themselves, or to say we just don't know, which is an ultimate cop-out. God created all these things. He gave you a conscience, you know right from wrong. You're a moral creation. You're different from the animals, and this whole genius of God's handiwork we see in creation as evidence of His existence.
Okay, so there are several points there. There is the creation of matter. There is morality. There is the origin of animal life.
Right.
Right, so let's break this down into actual segments. Would you like to choose?